Hi there. So today we're in the doghouse, and today it is glitter wall day. So we're going to be glittering the walls. We're doing a very light accent coverage using an ultrafine um, glitter called Apollo's Chariot. And as you can see, we have like a rag roll faux finish going on here. And this Apollo's Chariot has a slight yellow flash to it when the light hits it. So the yellow and the yellow should be really, really pretty together. It doesn't take much glitter to get an effect when you're doing an accent. We don't want to put total coverage on this because one, it'll cover up our faux finish, but two, it'll be blinding for the dogs. That's not fair. This is their little place, so don't want to do that. And also people will want to hang out here with their dogs. So it's important to get that happy balance, and the way we're going to achieve that is just with a very light accent coverage. I would say maybe in a square foot, talking about maybe 5% glitter, so very, very light. And there's a couple ways to achieve that. I wanted to share the one that we're going to do today, but I also wanted to share another option and kind of go over, the differences, okay? So today we're going to be using a Artistic Finishes latex glazing liquid. This is a clear finish here, and you can tint it and do all kinds of great things faux finish wise, or you can leave it clear. And what we're going to do is go ahead and leave it clear. It doesn't come off super glossy. It's actually kind of a satin, I would say, when it dries. And we're going to go ahead and put one coat on using a mitt, and we'll just be wiping it on. That's the beauty of this thing. It's so subtle that you don't have to get you don't have to be super careful with a brush and cut every edge and everything. You can kind of pretty much just get away with just laying it on. And then we're going to mix a second batch of it with our glitter together. And then that will be put on with a brush. And when you're using a glazing material and glitter and a brush, I highly recommend an extremely soft bristle brush. This particular one is, let's see, Home Decor Le Jour for paints and stains and gesso and things like that. I don't really care what it's meant for. When I buy a brush, I want to be able to put my finger through it and have it be extremely soft. Why do I want that? Because I don't want it to smear the glitter off the wall. When I put it on, I want it to lay the glitter onto the wall and not drag it off. And if you have a really stiff bristle on your brush, it's just going to tend to drag the glitter off and into piles. So when you're doing the glitter application, softer is better. Okay. The other option is if you want a situation where you really want your walls to be extremely blingy and shiny, this is too subtle. This glazing material will give you too much of a muted look. It's more of a classy kind of glitter look. It's not the bling jump off and smack you in the face. It's not going to do that. For that, you have lots of options. Boy, do you have lots of options. But let me talk to you about one more here, and that's polyacrylic. It's water-based. It works with polyesters for sure. Most craft glitters. Sometimes it'll clump up some craft glitters, so you want to make sure you test. And it comes in a clear gloss. And if you were to apply this to the wall, yes, it will be clear. Yes, it will be glossy. But is it pow glossy? No, it's actually not. The salesman will tell you it is, but it's not. It comes off to be a very nice gloss. Okay? It's not like your car finish or an epoxy finish where you've got that beautiful, like you could put a light on it and bounce a million, shards of light at you. That's not what this will give you. It's going to give you a nice gloss. Not like a nail polish, but just a kind of a nice gloss. Okay. So if you want that pow in your face, you're going to have to step it up to a gnarlier material like a urethane. And make sure if you do a urethane, you're doing a clear urethane, not one of these. Well, I've got one right here. Here you go. Varathane, glass, spar, urethane. Oh, it's what she's talking about. No, it's not. See, it says clear. Yeah, you open it, it's yellow inside. Okay, that's going to tint everything. Now in this case, we got a yellow wall, we could put it on yellow. You know, it would change the color a little bit, but not big. But if you've got some sort of beautiful red wall and and you seal it with this stuff, you're going to be so unhappy. So just because it says clear doesn't mean it's clear. Keep your receipts, crack that open carefully, or even better, have them crack it open at the store and make sure it's really, really clear. And also read and make sure it says non-yellowing, because these things over time can yellow. Now, this particular can I'm holding up happens to be an outdoor one. They make this same brand in an indoor. Same story, okay? Watch for the yellow. So, you know, you gotta be so careful when you buy these things. You gotta really read and you gotta test, and don't feel shy about cracking it open at the store. Just go up to their paint counter and say, hey, open this up for me, and tell them why. You know, tell them it's better to have you crack it here than have me return it in a half hour when I get home and I crack it and inside's a yellow. Okay, so today we could easily get away with this one or this one, but like I said, because it's a dog house and not a human house, we've chosen to go with the more muted one. So I'm going to go ahead and start the application. You can kind of see how it goes. I'm going to go ahead and, like I said, run the one layer down without glitter, then I'm going to run the second layer with glitter, and then I will take final shots so that you can see what it looks like. You'll notice the lighting in here is very dramatic. I work with a heavy-duty work light. One of these crazy things. And I do that because I really, really want to see what I'm doing. Also, it really, really, really shows the glitter. So as I'm working, I can tell whether I have too much or too little glitter, so that I can make sure that it's very, very even. So these work lights usually aren't that expensive. You can find them at Home Depot and places like that. And I think they're a good investment, especially when you're working with glitter. That way you can really see what's going down. If you're just working in a regular light situation, you can't always see. And then you're kind of later on in the day, you're like, oh my gosh, I got clumps over here, I got very little over here. So when doing accent coverage, I highly recommend these lights, okay? Plus it makes you look spooky. Just kidding. Okay, there we go. This has been shaken at the store. If it wasn't shaken, then you would want to make sure that you stir it. Another tip is you're more than welcome to go ahead and waste hours of your life taping, but this glazing is so, I don't know, it's not glossy, and it's so inoffensive, shall we say, that, you know, you really don't even necessarily have to tape. You might get some of these paint shields instead. So as you're working your way around windows, you can actually just sort of put the shield in there and paint, like this, and then if this won't fit in your window, you know, there's another size that will. Paint. That way you're not having to tape and spend your whole life taping. There are times for taping. There are times when these paint shields are great. Okay, so that's just a little tip from me to you. So if you see me using the shields, you know why. You know what they are. Okay, did you see me pour that? Do it again. See how it looks white? See how scary that is? It dries clear. A lot of these materials do that. Never fear. It's kind of the nature of the beast. You might have used some of the glues, the craft glues and things like that. They come out white, but they dry clear. It's the same story here. You don't have to use a mitt. You can certainly brush it if you want to. I find that the mitt goes faster and it's easier to deal with. But whatever your personal preference is. Okay, great. So that's my technique. Just smearing it on as fast as I can, making sure I get a nice even coverage. Looking back to make sure you don't have, you know, big splotches. And just working your way across the wall letting it dry. I figure by the time I make it all the way around, it'll be dry and ready for the second coat, which is the glitter coat. Okay, so I'm just gonna keep working. Hey, so coat number 1 has dried and it's time for coat number 2. Coat number 2 is with glitter. So that's very exciting. I'm not really gonna tell you how much glitter to glaze I'm using because it's a personal thing. You know, if you want your place to be really, really sparkly, you'll want to use a lot. If you want it to be very, very subtle, you'll use a little. So the best thing to do is to just play with it until you get the look that you like. And sometimes you can do it behind the couch where no one's going to see, or, you know, just kind of get it till you like it, and then, you know, take a look at what you use. You know, in Glitter University, there are some charts that'll help you kind of decide, you know, so you can, instead of buying like 10 pounds when you really only needed 4 ounces, you know, it'll help you with that. But you're always going to probably overbuy, and that's just kind of part of the game. And it's not that we want to sell you more glitter. We just want to make sure that you have all the options available to you so that when you get home and you've done your test, you go, oh, wow, I really wish I had more glitter to get the look I like. So it's always better to just buy a little extra, and then you can give it away to friends or keep it for another project or make matching whatevers. You know, so I always recommend buying a little more than you think you're going to need. But, you know, certainly if you really only need, you know, a pound and you buy 10 pounds, that's silly. So, you know, use our estimate charts for sure. So what I do personally, me, is I mix fairly small batches, and I keep track of, you know, how much material I'm putting in to how much glitter, and I'm pretty careful. I've done it a lot, so I don't measure quite like I used to. I used to actually like take measuring cups and dump them together. I can eyeball it now, but if you're just starting out, I highly recommend investing in some cheap, you know, go to the dollar store and buy some measuring cups and teaspoons, so that you'll probably do like a cup of glazing material to, you know, a teaspoon of glitter for a light accent, something like that. The reason why I don't mix the whole batch is because glitter settles. So as you're working through the day, your glitter starts to settle, you know, pretty quickly. Sometimes, you know, depending what material you've used, it could start settling right away, and it won't stay suspended in the material. So if you're working in smaller batches, it's easier to just give it a good stir with your brush rather than having to carry around a stick and stir with a big stick. It's just easier just to dip your brush, give it a good turn, and apply. But if you've got a whole bucket full, and you're going to have to carry a brush and a stick, and you're going to have to keep working that stick in there to keep the glitter, you know, throughout the material. So that's why I do small batches. It's more of a laziness thing. Now, if you have a helper, make them sit in a chair and just sit there and stir all day while you just come and dip out of it as you need it. Well, that's fine. I don't always have somebody like that. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Today I don't. So today, small batches. So here we go. Glazing material in bucket. I put in, about 2 fluid ounces. I'm putting in about half a teaspoon of glitter. Give it a good mix with my brush. And I can see in the bucket if I feel like there's enough sparkle. You can see it on your brush. It's beautiful. And then because it's glazing material, it's very forgiving. You're not going to see brush strokes. You can just slap it on there. You don't have to worry about beautifully laying it down. You just want to make sure you don't get, you know, globs. But yeah, it looks like we're ready to roll. So here, I'm going to do it right here. Show you. You're just painting it on. Before the camera rolled, I did a little test over here, and I love it. So I don't have to do this area. So I'm just going to work my way over here a little bit. light is terrific. It allows me to see what I'm doing. Having put down that first layer of glaze, we don't really have to worry if we miss a spot. The only reason why you want to, worry about that is to make sure your glitter's uniform, but you don't have to worry about it in terms of it looking shiny or glossy or anything like that. You've already taken care of that. This is just getting those beautiful sparkles in there. Again, you can use the paint shields if you want to. In my case, I'm just not going to worry about getting sparkles all the way up to the frame. My glazing material is already up to the frame, so I don't have to worry about it. So I'm just getting my sparkles in there. Nice and easy. And remember, this is a little bit milky, so you don't get to see that full, beautiful sparkle until it dries. But then once it's dry, it should be lovely. Like over here, this is already dry because I did it about 20 minutes ago. It's beautiful. Here's a little video showing you the glitter effect. Of course, in natural sunlight, it's 1,000 times prettier, but it's raining today.
5, 4, 3, 2,